I'll just be blunt and honest. There is no benefit of religion. There's no benefit of any religion anywhere in the world. Religion is toxic. Religion is poisonous. Religion is destructive. Religion is terrible. When has religion ever done anything good for our world? What up, people? So I was thinking, what am I going to do a vlog on this week? And I decided to do something on a subject that I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of differing opinions on. And so I wanted to make a vlog that would purposely start a conversation in the comment section. I'm sure it'll turn into some sort of argument or debate, but it's going to be a good time. So leave your comments and thoughts in the comment section so we can all hash it out together. But the reason I want to talk about this subject today is because I was actually on a podcast with the Mindful Skeptic, or Boyce is his name. On that podcast, which it was just incredible to be on that podcast, and Boyce, thank you again for having me on the podcast. He asked a lot of questions concerning the video I put out about my belief or not belief that I don't believe in God. And he is outwardly atheist and wanted to have a conversation with me about where I'm at in my journey. And so go ahead and I'll put the link up here. It's about an hour and a half long, and we just talked and had conversation. So go listen to his podcast, go subscribe to his channel. He's an awesome dude. One of the things that was brought up in our conversation, of course, since we're talking on this topic, was spirituality and religion. And, you know, in our conversation, he kept mentioning different religions, and we were both talking about how we've studied a lot of different religions. And then I decided to just stop him. I think I interrupted him, and I was like, okay, there has to be a distinction here between, you know, these things that we're calling religion and then the spiritual. And I told him about part of my journey where, you know, when all this first hit me and all this doubt started coming and all this craziness started filling my head, and doubt, skepticism, whatever you want to call it, about God and about the supernatural and living a Christian life and stuff, I didn't even know what questions to ask. I just knew I had questions, but I didn't know what they were. It was just kind of like my mind was just this one big cloud. And so I had to search for the questions more than the answers, because it was like everyone has their own opinion on the answers, but it's like, what are the questions that we should be asking? Which is why I love the philosophy of pragmatism, because that's what pragmatism is all about. Let's get to the right question and then we'll find the right answer. So it took a very pragmatic approach to that, and I didn't even know that I was doing it. But I had to find the right questions to ask in order to find the answers that I was looking for. And so I decided to, obviously, and I talk about this in the podcast, but this whole door of philosophy just blew wide open for me. And then that really opened the door for me of, wow, I didn't know this conversation was going on. Wow, these are questions that I've had that I didn't know that I had my entire life. And so I decided to look up these arguments, look up these things, and try to figure out, try to backtrack, what are the questions that I need to be asking? What are the foundational questions that I need to be asking myself to live a Christian life, to live an atheistic life, where are the deciding factors? What are the questions that I need to be asking? And so the first question I thought I would ask was, is there a supernatural realm? And, you know, me being, I don't know, I thought maybe I was the first person to ask that question. No, I wasn't. And so I came up with this whole thing, like, if a supernatural exists, then God is real, where that's just not true at all. And then I got to figure out, you know, if a supernatural is real, is there God? Is there one God? Is there gods? Is there a council of gods? Is there beings in this realm? And can they have an effect on our realm? And how does that whole thing work? How does it work? Why do they have access to us, but we don't necessarily have access to them? And just so many questions in that. And then I actually stepped back even further, and I was like, wait a minute. Before we even get to the question of a supernatural realm, what is the benefit to living or walking a spiritual life? And that question took some time. And that's how I knew I hit the nail on the head. Because I was like, what is the benefit of a Christian life? What is the benefit of an atheistic life? What is the benefit, but specifically talking about religion? Like, what is the benefit of living a spiritual life, of having a spiritual life? And the more I thought about it, I mean, I'm not even kidding. I would walk back and forth in my room, downstairs in my kitchen, just thinking and pondering this question. I was like, what are the benefits of this? And I even asked a lot of my friends, and they were like, that's a good question. I didn't get any, and the people that did answer, I wasn't satisfied with their answers. And it's not because their answers weren't genuine and maybe even true. It just came from a perspective that God does exist and they've already chosen Christianity. And so for them, that was the truth. But I was like, no, go even further back. Like, open your mind up a little bit more. Like, just that. Like, what are the benefits, no matter what religion or spirituality or whatever, what is the benefit of that? Of having a spiritual life, of walking a spiritual life out and all that. And so when I was talking to Boyce on the Mindful Skeptic podcast, I brought this up to him. And I said, when I was thinking about this question, I realized that every single time I would ask the question in my head, what is the benefit of a spiritual life? I was saying spiritual life, but what I was feeling and thinking was religion. And I was like, oh, there is a massive difference between the two, between spirituality and religion. And then I started to think, okay, what's the benefit for both? What's the benefit of religion? And I'll just be blunt and honest. There is no benefit of religion. There's no benefit of any religion anywhere in the world. Religion is toxic. Religion is poisonous. Religion is destructive. Religion is terrible. When has religion ever done anything good for our world? Honestly, when? But then when I made that distinction and asked, what is the benefit of a spiritual life? Then answers have slowly been starting to creep in, pop up, and I'm starting to have a fresh new look on those things. So I have looked into what does it mean to be a spiritual person, and what benefit does that have of spirituality? And from what I've seen in people that claim to be spiritualists or whatever, that it's obvious there's a benefit there, and I'm not quite sure what it is. I know there's a benefit there, even more than religion. And I'm just kind of following a gut feeling in that. But at the same time, I can see it. So I want to ask you, is this something that you've thought of before? And no matter what kind of lifestyle you're living, if it's a fundamental Christian Baptist, if it's skeptical atheist, if it's Buddhist, if it's Hindu, if it's spiritualism, what are the benefits that lifestyle is adding to your life? And does it add more or does it subtract more? And when I asked myself that question, I really had to get honest with myself. I really had to ask myself, when's the last time I've been living this life, but I've experienced joy? And I think that's a pretty big deal. Like, if you're not enjoying your life, if you haven't felt fulfillment, I should say, because I think joy is a level of fulfillment. But what are the benefits? And So I don't know. Those are my thoughts. That's what I talked about. So what do you think? Leave a comment in the comment section, and I'll see you misfits in the next video. Peace.